Okay, we're recording. Sure. Let me move some things around on my screen here so I can see. Yeah, so, okay, so as far as best practices, the very first thing that I would encourage you guys to do is within many of the modules within ServiceNow, you're going to find something that says guided setup. And in the bottom of knowledge, it's going to be under administration. Click on guided setup, and you're going to look at something like this. The reason I point this out is because before you even publish article number 1 is just sort of get you thinking about the stuff that you might want to either use or not use. But this is going to basically, and this is very TurboTaxi, so I'll walk through it a little bit, but it's going to address some of the questions up front that you may want to consider. Basically, like, who are the roles, right? I mean, it always starts with what are the roles for knowledge management, right? You're probably going to have several authors. You're going to have someone that's a content manager that's going to look at it before it gets published and say, yeah, this looks good. You might have someone that, administers the workflow if there is one for publishing a knowledge-based article. And so it's going to walk you through all these types of things. Do you need, we actually have like translation capabilities. I don't think that's maybe hopefully not needed for you guys, but do you need articles translated into other languages? So all these things. So if you go to knowledge, the guided setup and you hit get started, this is this is where we bake in the best practices. So from a general perspective, if you're looking for best practices, just follow this playbook here, and this will set it up. This doesn't mean that you have to in serial do all these things. So for example, this is, the first step is administration. It's going to say, set up your roles, assign the workflows if you need them, article templates. So it will walk you through a process of if you're trying to do something where NavalX would like to templatize a certain, we talked about this with Kevin back a couple months ago, is the playbooks. If we're going to host those as knowledge-based articles, what should they look like? They should all sort of look and feel the same way in some extent. So doing all these things, defining user criterias, and that's just the knowledge administration. This is this whole, the portal, there's a service portal for knowledge management if you want to use it, which I think you probably will, so how to set that up. There's this knowledge-centered service configuration, KCS. I don't really follow this methodology, but it's there. And then even the things like, okay, so once we've started publishing articles, who's accessing them, how often are they being accessed, how old are they, how successful are the, because as you know, the knowledge-based articles allow you to sort of allow users to rate them or say, is this helpful, or they can comment on it. So capturing all the metrics behind it all. And then as far as sort of like, searchability, you generally don't need to do, there's plenty of search out of the box. I don't think you're going to need this, but if you were doing something like synonyms for search, almost like, hey, NavalX calls it a playbook, but what happens if someone searches user guide? Should we surface the playbooks, right? That kind of situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In any case, so I don't want to walk through this whole thing. Translation management, I don't think you maybe need. So there's a whole host of things here that will get you started. Again, before you even decide to publish any articles, this is a great thing to start with. And again, there are things that you can dismiss. You don't have to go through. Don't think that you can't get going if you don't finish this guided setup. It's really just meant to be a guide.
Okay.
And then so talk to me about what you guys are thinking about the guides. While you're doing that, I'm going to bring up an article and we'll just sort of talk through some of the things that I think might be important. I think there are probably
like on the guide.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So like on the guide, what we're trying to accomplish is just a basic usage of the connector that Deloitte helped make for us. So basically just a step-by-step, do this here, enter company info here, yada, yada, yada. And we were thinking of having a text-based guide, but also embedding a video inside of it just for people to walk through as well if they want to choose to. And then obviously have pictures, things like that. So trying to make it have a lot of multimedia within the text. So it's not just a big blob, because people, especially at NavalX, are very, they like pictures and videos more than reading.
And you
So
know,
I
we
love you
have a
guys.
lot of drop-down menus, so we would want to show that as, here's what you have a selection for, and maybe provide some definitions, right? For like technology areas. Okay, so you got this list of technology areas, but what do they really encompass? Because how do you get the full spectrum of technologies in there? So
Yeah. Yeah, that's all good stuff. And yes, you can embed videos. Something that I want to maybe now explore is we could think about using guided setup, no, guided tours. So let me show you what that looks like, because so guided tours is a platform feature where, let's say for example, sorry, I'm gonna bring this up. Let's say, for example, you got a brand new user that's never landed on a NavalX screen before. They have no idea what they're doing. And you just want to
Yeah.
have like an interactive sort of, hey, this button does this. Click here if you want to do this. We've got some really, really cool out of the box features with that. Let me see if I can bring up one that would be relevant. And we'll just show it to you, because I think you might want, you could do this in both ways. I think both would be helpful.
Okay.
Portal. Try that. Just find one that I like here. Service portal, some tour. Okay, we'll try this one. The way that it looks is basically it's a designer. I wanted to show you the end result before I showed you how the sausage is made, but see if I can do this real quick. Oh, come on. Give me one sec. I'm going to pull up a different instance. This is a brand new instance that I just sort of loaded, and it's not perfect. This is actually the NavalX one, so perfect. Let's use this one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I still have this. This is my
This was
favorite.
from the demo like a couple months back, wasn't it?
That's right. That's right. All right, guided tour. Because I think this might have been part of the part of what I did for maybe a different break-off session with Kevin. Service Port NavalX tour. So this is it. And this is in relation to CSP index. So let me just do this. Promise you. You gotta be kidding. Okay. All right. I want this to kick off. Let me just do this. I'll tell you what. Okay, so edit with designer. So what this is doing is it's going to take you could do this either for a portal or you can do it actually within the back end of your instance as well.
Yeah.
But it presents you with, like I described, it's anytime you land on a screen, and you can restrict it so that it only fires the first time a user's ever been on the screen, or you can have it pop up every single time.
Okay.
Well, basically what it looks like is, if you see these little bubbles here, these are the step-by-step instructions. And so if I wanted to, so let's play it. Okay, so it says, welcome to the NavalX portal. Glad you found us. First time. Interactive welcome tour to show you around. And again, this is all just, no code. Search for anything here, playbooks, KBs, tech bridges, looking for a playbook, documentation, start here. So is this kind of making sense as far as like a general interactive guide? This is meant to be sort of high level. And again, you can make this might just be, okay, it's the first time this person's ever landed. Or you can just have it show up all the time, or you just have it as something where it's like a self-service, like, hey, I'm brand new to what I'm looking at, and I just click on tours, and it'll say which tour do you want to play, and then you just go for it. But I think it's pretty valuable in the sense of like, it's like I said, the designer for that, close these.
So would
Looks,
that just be sort of provide support for filling out the, for going in through either the public or the NavalX portal, or would this actually be where they fill out the information?
in this case, it's more just a, hey, here's where you go to get things. But you could make these pretty prescriptive. You were talking about like, hey, what does this field mean? Or what are the values that I can type into this field? That is a possibility as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like, and if we were to do something like this on the back end of ServiceNow, so it's not portal facing, it's more you're looking at a specific form. We can do that as well. And let me see if I can pull one of those up. But that is the design of what it's supposed to do. Let's see.
Yeah, I think this would be very helpful.
Yeah, especially in conjunction with written guides and whatnot. I think it's much more engaging when you have like a hand holding live through any kind of tool.
Yes. Case form tour. Let's try this one.
Yeah, because like a lot of times for us, we get like emails about what does this field mean or things like that. And so I think having like the first time they load up the form or whatever, having that kind of like tooltip pop up would be really, really handy.
Yes. Yeah. And so here's an example of like just an actual form, or it can be a report or something like that. Let's go ahead and play it, see what it looks like. Should be the same concepts. Here we go. To change the layout of this form, click the context menu, right? Click here. This is nice because it actually, in this case, it's very like sequential. So it won't move on. It won't advance through the guided tour without the person actually doing it, right? So it's like, okay, now hit make your form layout. So I do that. It's going to say, cool, you did that. I think. I just closed it, Chris. But I think that's maybe where we start.
Yeah, I think something like that would be really helpful, like walking the users through actually making the form.
Yeah, and then making it, optional as to whether they want to go through the guided tour or not.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
It's a nice little utility, especially when you have, it's a cultural and adoption thing, right? Especially when you take away someone's like, SharePoint that they've been using for 10 years, and all of a sudden they're given this new, whiz bang tool that, can be confusing to some.
Yeah, it definitely can be.
It's nice in the form layout, right? So just like step by step by step. Yeah. And there should be some out of the box tours that you have now, but we can take, I don't have access to your new NavalX development environment. But there should be things that we can start playing with there. I would start with some of the stuff that's already there and use that. So anyways, go ahead.
No, I was just confirming.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of the best way to start here.
Well, I think, John, we could make a written guide, and then we could also link it. We could just have a guided tour as well. I don't think having as many different options for the user.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I don't think this is something that needs a video necessarily.
Yeah, I think the guided tour is like a perfect
guided tour would be quite helpful, especially for additional information.
Yeah, and you can always, these tours can be launched on demand. You could also always sort of conclude a guided tour with, hey, if you'd like some additional information, there's a knowledge base article that you can dig into, and maybe we can have almost have both solutions, and they can play on each other a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I would never have known about this.
No,
So
I'm glad you asked that, and you teed it up well, because I didn't think about guided tours until you were kind of talking about just the users knowing where to go. That is specifically what it's designed to do. So it's almost kind of like, it caters to the people that don't really know, they haven't been through this before. They've never really stepped through the platform. So, and once again, you can actually get reports and metrics based on how many people have used guided tours, how successful was it, had they gone all the way through the process. It's kind of nice, because then if, and then after 6, 8 months, you're like, people aren't really using it, or like, this is an overwhelming success, we should be doing this on every single form,
Right. So is there a training module we can take to learn more about guided tours?
I would always start with, official real training. I'm sure there is. I would almost always start with just going to docs.servicenow.com. And if you type in like guided tours.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's a couple. You can do some, I'm going to look up in the training as well. If you guys go to, so you will, when you get the training credits, when we work with NavalX to figure out who's all getting what, everything is run through nowlearning.servicenow.com, service-now.com. And on there is all the training we offer, and some of it is paid and some of it is not. Some of it's free. So that's service-now.com. Maybe it's just misspelled now. So I'll look that up real fast while you guys are.
No, I think this would be perfect. What do you think, Bingo?
Like, excited to see what we can do with this, and like, I don't know, I feel like thinking outside of the box, especially with these kinds of things, will make I think it'll make the NavalX connector more easier for new people to adopt.
I mean, in an initial look, it's pretty intuitive. It looks simple. I know there's some questions that we've reached out to several of the companies, many of the companies, to get additional data to fill as many of the data fields as possible before we go live. And there have been questions, so we could actually use that to help us in developing the guided tour.
Yeah.
There's actually a Knowledge 20 webinar. Yeah, with that awesome. Specifically talks to guided tours, and it's on Now Learning. So I'm gonna send that in the chat here once sorry.
Ooh. You got hit with
Inception.
Yeah.
Dream within a dream.
Two of you.
2 Alex Beachies.
There he goes.
I've never been called loud in my life.
Yeah, Marine. Yeah, right.
Here's the link to that, specifically the guided tours.
Okay.
But there are knowledge management fundamentals. If you just take that Now Learning website, and you search at the very top, if you do knowledge management, there's just the website itself, but it will give that to you as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look into that. Unfortunately, my dog got a hold of a pen. I have to get that now.
Writing a book.
You have one pen, Bingo.
One pen. Yeah.
It's your favorite pen.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've always just been a big fan of this. I mean, it's very, we often talk about ServiceNow being no code to low code, and right clicky and drag and drop type of stuff, but this is the literal representation of drag and drop. I mean, it's like if I wanted to add a comment or a call out based on the state field, you take this little bubble, you drag it on there, and it says, you know, what do you want to say about this? You say, you know, for example, state, you know, state values include, you know, new, old, retired, you know, etc. So, and then you know, as you continue to save these, it's just, and then do you want to be able to skip this? Do you want to trigger the, you know, based on this next button, or do you want it to be, for example, when you know, the user's got to click on a specific area? It almost works well for, I mean, like actual training.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to train someone on ServiceNow, this is a nice thing to do because it's,
Yeah, actually that would be good. And then they have the written manual as a reference.
Exactly.
Cool.
So, do you have any other questions? I mean, you know, feel free to pop back on my calendar as you guys start to, if this is something that you want to do and want to move forward, if you have questions for me, I mean, and if you say, hey, Adam, would you mind just taking a look at it, making sure it makes sense, and we're doing it the right way, I'm happy to do that.
No, I'm sure we'll take you up on that. Yeah, we'll go through the training and, you know, play with it a bit.
Yeah.
You know, reach back to you if we have any questions.
Great. Works for me. Alex, you got anything?
No, I am good. Sorry, I'm in 17 different directions right now.
No, I know we all are. All right, guys. Hey, I will, by the way, I will share this recording if you would like. Probably makes sense. So right after this, I'll email this link out to you guys so you have it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Adam and Alex.
Adam and Alex.
You got it, guys.
You're welcome, although I didn't do anything. So.
All right.
We're all
Take care,
support,
guys.
Alex.
Good one, guys.
Take care, guys.
All right. Take care.
Bye.